Let's say this up front, because in 2026, this matters. Jacksonville is no longer a secret for years. Like, Jacksonville has been a city that people have slept on. Affordable, quiet, and kind of underrated. You could move here, buy a house, and feel like you got in early. That window, yeah, it's kind of closing down. Not because Jacksonville has changed overnight, but because Jacksonville, enough people have finally figured this place out. Right now, more than 100 new residents are moving to the Northeast Florida every single day. And Jacksonville sits of this entire shift. From 2023 to 2028, Jacksonville is expected to grow by 11%, which is faster than any other metro in Florida. And if you're thinking about moving to Jacksonville, Florida in 2026, this is the need to know about living in Jacksonville video. Not the hype version, not the fear version. This is the real version, because here's the truth. Jacksonville isn't just one city anymore. It's the anchor of Northeast Florida, and the entire region has just shifted. So today, what we're doing, I'm going to break down what Jacksonville actually looks like in 2026, what changed, what hasn't, and how to decide where you should land before prices, demand, and competition move again. Let's get into it. Jacksonville didn't explode like Austin or flex like Miami did. It definitely didn't chase all of the hypes. It kind of expanded quietly. And in 2026, that quiet expansion is impossible to miss. Here's the actual difference now. Prices are higher, and that's across the board. New construction dominates many parts of the city and surrounding counties. Demand is steady, but it's not really chaotic right now. And buyers are far more intentional than they were just a few years ago. Jacksonville is no longer that cheap alternative. It's the value city. And there's a huge difference, because even in 2026, Jacksonville still offers things that most major metros don't. You still get more space than you'll find in majority of larger cities, a lower cost of living compared to what you'll find in coastal metros across Florida, no state income taxes, and a real life balance that doesn't feel rushed. But let me be clear about this part. The days of buying anything, anywhere, and when, those days are gone, because in 2026, your strategy actually matters. Where you buy matters, where you prioritize matters, and understanding how Jacksonville fits into the Northeast Florida matters more than it ever has before. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, because they assume that Jacksonville works like every other city. It doesn't. And wait a minute, just a quick pause, because it's important. If you're watching this and you're realizing that you want to navigate this move, we are realtors here in the Northeast Florida area, not just Jacksonville. And we post videos every single week. All of our contact information will be down in the description, pinned. You can call us, text us, email us when you are ready. Now, here's where it really starts to matter, because Jacksonville in 2026 isn't just about what changed. It's kind of about what's happening in the city. And that's why the next piece is the most important part of this entire video. Jacksonville may be the city, but Northeast Florida is the system. And once you understand how the system works, everything else, pricing, traffic, lifestyle, long-term value, all starts to make sense. Now, here's the first mistake people make when they're moving to Jacksonville. They say, I'm moving to Jacksonville. Cool. But what you're actually doing is choosing a lane inside of Northeast Florida, because living in Jacksonville in 2026 can mean the difference in lanes, like very different lanes. You could be in a historic neighborhood walking and drinking coffee, right? Or you can be at the beach in flip-flops by sunrise, in a master plan community with golf carts and an HOA newsletter, on land with a little bit of space and quiet, or in a luxury coastal pocket where privacy is the real flex. Same city by the name, completely different lifestyles. And this is where people get confused, and they get confused real fast. Jacksonville isn't just big, it's ridiculously big. We're talking about 840 square miles. Jacksonville is literally the largest land area in the United States. Translation: we can fit New York City, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco and Jacksonville's boundaries, and still have room for a couple master plan communities Macy's, and a Costco. Now, that's not just a fun fact. That's daily fact, like living in Jacksonville, because it doesn't operate like most dense cities that you've seen. It operates like a regional hub. Jacksonville being the center, but Northeast Florida, Duval County, St. Johns County, Clay County, Nassau, and of course, Baker County, it's the entire experience. Where you live in this system decides your commute, your cost of living, your weekends, and of course, your stress levels. Same jobs, same budget, different counties, completely different lives. And in 2026, the people who win here are the ones who understand that before they buy. Now, back in the days, let me help you out. Back in the days, you could move to Jacksonville, buy a decent house, and everything just kind of worked out for you guys. That's not 2026 Jacksonville. With people moving to Northeast Florida every single day, strategy replaces that luck factor. You don't just ask, how much can I afford? What you ask is, what county fits my lifestyle? Number one, how far am I willing to drive every day? 2, do I want walkability, space, or just convenience? Am I planning for right now or 5 years from now? Because Jacksonville, it kind of rewards those people who choose intentionally. So lock this in. Jacksonville is a hub. Northeast Florida is the move. And once you stop thinking that it's one city and start thinking that it's regional systems, everything else starts to click. Pricing, traffic, growth, lifestyle, which takes us straight into part 2. Because now that you understand where people are moving, now we need to talk about how they're actually living. And that's all about that lifestyle lane. Now, let's make this simple, because this is where people get it wrong, right? There's no best place to live in Jacksonville. There's only the best place for you. And if you don't figure that part out first, everything else, pricing, commute, stress, and budget, just are going to show up later. Jacksonville works in lanes, right? Pick the right lane, life is really good. Pick the wrong one, you're on Zillow again in 2 years, and let's break that down, right? Lane 1, that's going to be urban and historic Jacksonville. We're talking about Riverside, Avondale, San Marco, and of course, Springfield area. Now, these are walkable areas. These are the areas that have character. You're going to have your coffee shop, your restaurants, your brick streets, those oak trees that everyone seems to love. Here, what you're choosing is charm over square footage, like location over brand new, lifestyle over convenience, trade-off older homes, tighter streets, less push-button living. And if you love personality and hate cookie cutter, this is definitely going to be your lane. Lane 2 is going to be the Jacksonville beach life. Jacksonville Beach, Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach, and then we're going to go all the way out to Fernandina Beach. Now, this is lifestyle over layout. You're paying for proximity to the ocean, walkability vibes. Homes are going to be a little bit smaller. Prices are going to be higher. Demand is constant. Worth it? If water access is the part why you're moving to Jacksonville, absolutely. Just know beach life and near the beach are not the exact same. Lane 3, master plan community life. We're talking about Nocatee, E-Town, Silverleaf, Rivertown, Trailmark, Oakleaf, and yes, the HOA lane. This is new construction. This is amenities. This is schools driving demand. We're talking about trails, pools, playgrounds, everywhere. This is where Beach Garden should be at. Everything is organized. Everything has a rule. And yes, someone will notice your trash can, but for families, this lane makes a lot more sense. We're talking about structures already built in, guys. We're talking about predictability is the actual feature. Now let's talk about lane 4, space, value. We're talking about Mandarin, Fleming Island. We're talking about Yulee, Green Cove, Middleburg. Those places people are really looking for right now. This is where people go when they want more house, more land, more breathing room. This is the lane that's still winning when we're talking about value in 2026. And let's be honest, most of these areas come with a commute, especially when you're working in Jacksonville. You're trading time for space. Some people love that trade-off. Some people don't. Know thyself, guys. Lane 5, luxury and flex. Ponte Vedra, Amelia Island, Riverfront, San Marco, and of course, Palm Valley. This is all about lifestyle first. We're talking about water, golf, privacy, prestige, not cheap, and these are very intentional buyers. People in this lane aren't asking what's the price per square footage. They're asking, how does this fit my life? The real takeaway here, every single one of these lanes work, but not for the exact same person. The mistake isn't the area. The mistake is choosing a lane that doesn't necessarily fit your lifestyle. That's why people love Jacksonville or quietly complain about Jacksonville. Now, quick question. What neighborhood or area are you most curious about right now and living in, right? Because we'd love you to drop it down in the comments, and there's a very good chance I'm gonna probably shoot that video next. All right, So before we get into the cost of living and jobs and all the things you guys are going to put on the spreadsheet, I want to answer this question real quick. And I always get this question. I mean, always. Doc, is Jacksonville safe? And my answer is always going to be yes, but you need to hear this with context, not just headlines. First of all, Jacksonville is massive. I've already told you guys that. It's the largest city by land area in the 48. I'm talking about massive. And when people say crime in Jacksonville, what they're really talking about is crime in specific pockets, not the entire city. That's not even unique to Jacksonville. That's Dallas, that's Atlanta, that's Chicago, that's even LA. Pick your city. Crime in big city doesn't just spread like peanut butter. It's kind of concentrated. And what the headlines do not tell you, most the stuff you see on the news, it only happens in certain areas. It involves the same people, around the same people that know each other. It almost never happens in those neighborhoods that people are actually moving to. But fear doesn't even care about nuance. A headline travels faster than any fact any day. All right, so let's talk about what most people want to talk about. We're talking about money, because this is where people either relax or they start sweating in those Zillow tabs. First off, Jacksonville is not cheap anymore. That era has officially ended. But this is the part that matters the most. Jacksonville is still reasonable, especially when you compare it to where most people are moving from. And the numbers just prove that, right? Even in 2026, Jacksonville's cost of living is still 9% lower than the national average. Flex. Housing is still roughly 18% cheaper. Flex. Utilities are run about 9% cheaper. Flex. So if you're moving from places like California, New York, New Jersey, this still feels like a win. Not I'm robbed by the bank cheap, but definitely why was I paying that much cheap? Now here's the real shift in 2026. Entry-level prices are higher. Of course, all across the board. Insurance matters more, and location impacts your monthly payment more than your purchase price. This is where house lane kind of shows up. Two houses, same price, one feels comfortable and the other one feels like it's disrespectful every month. Same city, different lanes. Property taxes here aren't wild, and we're talking about you can budget 1 to maybe 1.5% of the assessed home value, depending on what county you're in. And I have to highlight assessed value, because most home assessed value is 15% lower than the purchase price of the home. This is not New Jersey tax paying. Perspective matters here. Now, insurance, because the internet absolutely loves drama. Insurance depends on a couple of things, guys. Age of roof, construction, flood zone, and a proximity to the St. Johns River or the ocean. Now, let me make this clear. Flood insurance is not required on most Jacksonville homes. Some need it, most don't. And I'm gonna be honest with you, we've had very few people actually need flood insurance when moving here. Again, this lane is going to matter for you. If you're looking for a newer community, HOAs are going to be common. CDDs are going to be common. And if you want that resort style swimming pool with those amenities that feel like Busch Garden without the roller coasters, you're going to pay for that lifestyle. Now, some neighborhoods have very low HOA fees and higher CDD fees. Others flip it. Different buckets, same idea. Jacksonville doesn't punish buyers because the price went up. Now, if you understand this lane, if you understand your county, if you understand what your monthly costs are going to be, Jacksonville still works, still livable, and it still has that balance. Still one of the smartest moves you're going to make in Florida. Now that you know what it actually costs to live here, the question is kind of obvious. Can Jacksonville still support your career? Why do so many people just keep moving here? Now, here's the simple reason people keep moving to Jacksonville. Jacksonville has jobs, guys. Real ones. Not the hype jobs that other people may talk about. Not one industry carrying the entire city. Jacksonville economy is diverse, and that matters for long-term growth. You've got port logistics with Jax Ports moving serious weight. You got healthcare, you have finance, including major employees and hospital systems everywhere. You have a strong military presence, which brings stability most cities don't have, and wave of remote workers who realized that they didn't need to suffer in the cold for their paycheck. That mix is why Jacksonville just doesn't boom and bust like many other cities. It grows, and it grows steadily. And this isn't just a Jacksonville thing. St. Johns County keeps growing. Nassau County is accelerating fast. Clay County still offers value for people who want space without chaos. This is a regional engine, not just one city wonder. And in fact, in 2025, Jacksonville was ranked top 3 among growing cities cities in the entire United States. We're not talking about just in Florida, guys. Let that sink in for a minute. Not Florida, but the country. And here's the key that most people miss. Jacksonville still has room. From 2023 to 2028, Jacksonville is expected to grow by another 11%, which is faster than any other Florida region. And the reason it doesn't feel overwhelming, Jacksonville grows outward, not upward. That means less density, less pressure, less daily stress. You don't have to feel boxed in here in the way you do in other high-rise cities. More space, more flexibility, and a little bit more breathing room. So when people ask, is Jacksonville done growing? The answer is no. Because in 2026, this isn't the end of the growth cycle. It's actually right in the middle. The infrastructure is still expanding here in Jacksonville. Jobs are still coming and people are still choosing this region on purpose, which brings me to the reality check. Because growth is great, but it's also like a trade-off to traffic, the commutes, and how far or close actually is in a city this big. Now let's clear something up right now. Jacksonville doesn't have gridlock. Jacksonville has distance, and those two are not the same thing. The city isn't here to trap you in bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's here to quietly ask how committed you are to this commute. In Jacksonville, bridges matter. In Jacksonville, timing matters. In Jacksonville, county lines matter, and they matter a lot. You don't just sit in traffic here. You commit to the drives. And if you didn't factor that in when you bought that house, you're going to feel it. And you're going to feel it every day. Jacksonville looks close on the map, but it's not at all. Two places can feel different 15 minutes apart. Two places can be 15 miles apart and feel like two different cities. And that's before the school drop-offs, that's before rush hour, or that's before the bridge decides it does not want to cooperate today. Once you've learned the patterns, though, it becomes manageable. Locals plan ahead, peak times, bridge crossings, and which side of the river they're on. That's the part of the rhythm here. The biggest mistake that people end up making, they fall in love with a house and they forget to date the commute. They buy based on price, they buy based on square footage without asking how often I'm going to have to cross this bridge. What county am I driving into every morning? And do I really want to do this 5 days a week? Because Jacksonville, it'll let you do it, but it's not going to apologize for the trip that you have to take. And traffic isn't what makes Jacksonville hard. It's the geography. But when you kind of respect it, you plan for it, you choose your lane intentionally, Jacksonville just kind of flows. Now, ignore it and you'll be Googling back roads within 2 weeks. But now that you understand that, how movement actually works here, the last piece of the puzzle is definitely going to be your lifestyle. What daily life actually looks like, the food, the culture, and the routine. Because Jacksonville is a lifestyle-driven city. This is the best way I can describe it. People are outside a lot. Mornings start early, not because everyone's rushing, but because the weather actually makes you want to get up and go outside. Sunrises, coffee runs, beach mornings before work. That's the normal life here. Weekends feel full, but not rushed. You can hit a farmer's market, a bunch of brunch spots, the beach, and still be home before it feels like you ran a marathon. The balance is hard to explain until you actually live here. Like Jacksonville mornings, they kind of move slow, but it doesn't feel like that sleepy slow. It feels like that Sunday morning cool slow. And then when we talk about food for a second, Jacksonville Foodscape, it's really underrated. I'm gonna be honest. It's not flashy, not influencer bait, but every 5 seconds, just good food. Seafood that didn't have to have a passport to actually get here. Local spots that actually are good to go to. Neighborhood favorites that don't care about any of these trends, and you'll eat well here. And you won't have to make reservations 3 weekends out just to get into that restaurant that everybody has been talking about. Like, community pride runs deep here. Neighborhoods matter, local businesses matter, and people actually care where they live. Now you have the beach life, and then you have that city feel, and then they can be completely different, even though you're in the same metro area. That's one of Jacksonville's superpowers, right? Just having an identity for every different neighborhood. You don't have to choose one. You can have an option. You can have that cool, calm, relaxed feeling, or you can have that, I'm going shopping over here with the girls. And here's one thing, Jacksonville really doesn't even try to impress you. It doesn't shout out loud on platforms like Instagram and say, hey, we're beautiful over here. It just kind of works all together. And over time, it grows on you. You stop comparing it to where you came from, you stop chasing what's next, and you start realizing that it feels a lot easier being here. And that brings us to a reality check that most people need, because every city actually has its trade-offs. So yes, this is Florida. So we have to talk about this, right? There are going to be very hot summers. We're going to have some afternoon storms that only last about 15 minutes and then they're going to disappear. We're going to have some mild winters, but most people want to know about the hurricanes. And let me help you out real quick. We don't really get hurricanes. What we get is tropical storms. And that's going to help you understand your lane when it comes to housing, because roofs matter and insurance are going to matter. We do not have the storms that you're going to find in West Florida, Tampa, or even South Florida. These hurricanes are a lot of rain pouring down with a lot of wind, and you wake up in the morning and you still catch your favorite TV show. So when it comes to those trade-offs that most people are looking at, I have to talk about weather, but we're not getting the weather that most people see on the news because they have to understand the region first. And the region helps you understand the counties, and the counties help you understand the lane. Now, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, guys, but before I finish it, I have to let you know some Jacksonville truths. First, we've already talked about Jacksonville is huge. Like, nobody believes it until they're late once, which leads to the truth number 2. Everyone becomes a bridge expert. They're either red, blue, brown. That's how we kind of talk about our bridges. They have no real names. You don't want to get caught up on the bluey and have to make your way downtown. You have to kind of plan for that, but it's going to happen at least once. Truth 3. This one gets people every single time. Beach life is not the same as near beach life. They're two different lifestyles. They're two different price points, and they're two different daily routines. Number 4. People complain, but they don't leave. It's amazing to me, right? How many people I hear, I don't like this about Jacksonville, or they grumble about traffic, or they argue about which side of town is better. But the funny part is all they do is end up relocating to another side of town. But notice how they still stay here. And that's the biggest truth of it all. Your Jacksonville experience entirely depends on where you decide to live. You could be in the same city and have completely different outcomes out here. The city kind of rewards intentional buyers, intentional movers when they're relocating to Jacksonville, Florida. Now, here's the truth about moving to Jacksonville in 2026. Check this out. This isn't a gamble anymore. It's like a strategic play. If you understand the lanes, if you understand the region, if you understand the trade-offs, Jacksonville works. But if you guess, you're going to kind of feel it, because Jacksonville isn't one city anymore. It's a collaboration, right, of lifestyles across the Northeast Florida area. And people who win here aren't the ones that move fast. They're the ones that choose the lane intentionally. And if you do not know, Dr. Real Estate Jackson. So if you're thinking about moving to Jacksonville or anywhere in the Northeast Florida area, we're going to put our contact information somewhere in here. Give us a call, shoot us a text, shoot us an email. We're the guys that pick up the phone, answers the text, answers the email. And if you're not ready to move just yet, I want you to binge watch the channel. I'm gonna offer 2 more videos right there. Check those out. Where to eat, where to live, where to play. Because in 2026, Jacksonville, this place, it's not a secret anymore. But like I say in every video, until next time, be great and choose excellence at everything you do.